tagged you guys in the post. Oh yeah, you guys take a seat if you want. We'll start in a couple of minutes.
Does it get easier?
No. Yes. It gets easier.
Oh yeah? Ew.
Thanks. The more you know who you are and what you want, the less you let things upset you.
As a 10-year-old trying to be a reporter. Do it. Not brilliant, but fun to play.
Yo, Tommy, I've been wanting to tell you.
What up, peeps?
Oh.
Before you tell them really quick, let's start the podcast. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, everybody, to episode 55
Hello!
of Shut Up, Let's Talk today. My name is Alzar, joined along here with Loneborn.
What's up?
Rad new
Hello!
music peeps. How are you, man? And joined along here today with
Raul?
Raul and
Johnny.
Johnny 2x4. What's going on today, folks? How's it rolling today, guys? Thank you so much for joining us on a fun new episode. It's the first time that we've ever had a band on the show.
Awesome. I mean,
So
thanks for having us.
It's exciting, man. Thanks for being on, brother. So
Dude,
what's
this is awesome. I've been waiting years for this moment.
yeah,
Years.
you know what? This is one of those moments where you start to feel old because now I just realized the podcast has been around for like 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. That's kind of
That's how
crazy.
long I've been waiting. 2 years. Dude.
Well, cheers to you, gentlemen. Thank you so much, guys, for being on tonight.
Baklava.
And what I wanted to do today, folks, I wanted to talk about these guys' awesome music because, as far as I know, two-piece band,
Yeah.
right? And that's difficult, folks.
I'm sure there's some questions about that.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's difficult these days trying to be in a band, man. And I've tried to be in bands before, but my biggest thing is like reliability with people, and it's the songwriting balance that gets kind of like tricky, you know. At least with me back in the day. But then again, you know, I was like 16, 17 at that time. We're all still learning our instruments, you know.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, you want to play stuff that you're not even technically able to play yet. So
I'm still learning everything, dude. I don't know shit.
well, you know, that's a good place to start. What do you guys play? What do you guys like to play? I'm sure it's a mix, but
Well, I've been playing the drums. That's what I've been doing lately. But I hopped on congas. I just put some sticks together to start banging that shit. That's all I do.
That's true.
Pretty
So
much.
I've seen Jonathan hit stuff, man. He hits it rhythmically, bro.
he does. He's got it built
Got
in.
the rhythmic hands, man.
He's got it built in. Yeah, I play a little bit of everything. Play a little bit of guitar, bass, sing,
Cool.
and whatnot. But you
Raul
know,
does everything, dude.
But it's been a cool process just because, I mean, just to kind of give you some background on how it started. We had tried to be in a band before, maybe like, what was that, like a year?
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Rest in pieces.
And it just didn't work out partially because of the things you were talking about. You know, it's just hard to be reliable.
It's hard to get the balance,
you have
man.
More people in. You got to rehearse. You got to start thinking about all these things. Like, you're writing in a lot different of a way. But, you know, I think it was like a Saturday, Jonathan hits me up and he's just like, I have an idea for a studio, for some studio time. Like, let's go and like write a song. I'm thinking like, dude, I don't want to start a band. I'm not about
Sounds
that right
like
now.
a Fortune 500 type of
Yeah. I'm not trying
a
to
pyramid
start a band.
scheme.
You
But-
said that? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then I'm like,
He
"Oh,
did
whatever."
deny me at first.
I was like, whatever, let's give it a shot.
Oh my
And he
gosh.
came in and he had all these ideas in his head. Just so he comes with me with like I think it was like a recording
Sorry,
on
I'm
his.
putting myself in the audience
Yeah.
right now. Hold up.
And thank you everybody who's hanging out in the chat, by the way. Thank you for mentioning the audience. Thank you, Steve, Charlie. We got
Charlie!
thank you, Ruben. What's going on, everybody? Thank you, Alexander, for hanging out. We got a lot of cool rad homies, as usual.
Yeah.
And so, Jonathan hits you up. After a while, you guys booked that studio session.
Yeah. So he comes with just like a recording on his phone.
Classic.
Just him playing drums.
Pretty
in his
bootleg.
room.
I love it.
Pretty
Pretty
bootleg.
That's how it all starts.
And I hear it, and I'm just like, okay, this is what you have. This is what you want to get together in the studio. But then like he's like, oh yeah, no, like check it out. I have an idea. And he just starts like kind of like singing the bass line for what became a song.
Every good song comes from that.
That was it, and that's how we wrote Seven Nation Army. It was crazy. No, I'm just kidding. So
Followed by the Friends theme song.
yeah, exactly. But essentially, like he had all these parts like kind of written out in his head, and he doesn't know how to play guitar or bass or anything. So he's like, "Can you help me out?" So I started kind of like trying to translate that.
What was the first song? What was it? Do you remember?
It's a song we never released. What was it called? I don't know, but there was enough in that song to where we had a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and we're like, "This is like, we don't have to commit to anything. Let's just keep doing it. It's fun."
That's the vibe I get from your music, actually. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, so
Sounds
we just,
fun. Sounds like a good time.
That was the goal. I mean, I think we just kept trying to have fun, and eventually we're like, this is starting to sound like
something.
like something, and then we're like, we should probably think of like a name or blah blah blah, and like we just didn't go into it thinking like, oh, we're gonna be this band and we're gonna try to play as many shows as possible, and we want to like tour and sell music. None of that. We're just like, let's just put out some music. If people like it, cool. If they don't, no big deal. And I mean, luckily it's been crazy. Just the past like 6 months, it's been like just kind of like a crazy ride from zero to like just recently.
To 160.
Yeah, it's like 160. It's crazy.
40-something thousand.
Yeah.
MPH for everybody at home. But honestly, it seems that way. You know, over time, over a short amount of time, I've seen you guys really build. You know, it's tough because I think about the first time I saw a post, and I didn't know that it was you guys, you know?
That was partially the goal, actually, because
It was a mystery what it was.
Yeah, we
Let's see
tried
how
to-
many people we could troll.
one,
if I-
one thing I didn't want to happen, which has happened to me before, is that you put something out and you show all your friends, and all your friends are like, "Oh, this is awesome," and they're just happy for you for putting something out,
Yes.
but they'll never actually like listen to it or like come back to you and say like, oh, this is really cool, blah blah. So I was like, let's like not bring that noise into it until maybe like later once it feels like a real thing.
It's the best idea.
And it just kind of started working, like, because the original kind of like fan base, if you want to call it that, that we kind of garnered was just random people from all over the place.
Yeah.
People from Peru, from Thailand, from
some people from the UK. It was,
Speaking of, have you guys had a chance to look at your analytics and see where a lot of people are listening to your stuff? Like, what's the city? Like, what's the country or city or whatever?
Most recently, most recently.
Where is it?
Most recently, it's United States right now, but the last EP was like did really well in Mexico City.
Wow.
Super, yeah.
Yeah, we're like, what the hell
unexpected.
Very cool, folks. So, I know we've been talking about the music for about 10-15 minutes. Let's I'd like to go ahead and play a song, if you guys don't mind.
Bum, 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 bum.
And we don't have the rights to that.
Thought you guys wrote it. No. Is there any song? Well, the first one I wanted to play is actually one of my favorites, which is the Operator tune.
Go for it.
Love Operator.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a
I
great
remember
one.
that one.
Make sure that the audio is playing through, folks. There you go, cool. Come on. And we can actually talk over the song if you'd like, but I would like for them to hear it. And the Operator, folks, let's play about a minute of it, I guess. We're not going to be able to. My favorite thing. I like it.
This was probably our second song.
All right.
Or third song, maybe.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for everybody at home, that was Operator by Loneborn, and that was my microphone totally almost falling on the floor. But luckily, I've been hanging out with my cat so long, I got his reflexes. You know?
You're a cool cat.
Anyway, yes, that was a really cool song, folks. I really like that song. One of the catchiest hooks ever. Love that. It really is.
I think that's what
I remembered it the first day I heard it, and that never happened. Like the first time I heard it, I remembered that.
I remember
that
when
little
you
line.
talked to us.
I did talk to
It
you
was
about that.
with this song.
I
You
was
started
stoked.
like, yo, this song. You hit us up.
Oh, did I do a little guitar
You
jam
did.
on
You
it?
covered
Yeah.
this song.
That's so funny. Yeah, I was having some fun with that on the Strat.
Yeah, that's probably been one of the coolest things I've experienced. Like, I obviously didn't know who you were. I think you've known Jonathan probably for some time, but I remember I saw that because whenever somebody gets tagged, it pops up, and I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like that was like me when I was like a kid, and like I'd find like a favorite band or like a band that I just really liked.
And just jam on their stuff,
just
right?
jam on it, and you just, to me, that's the coolest feeling. And that and like having people write from like all over. There's some kids in like Germany that are like writing out and saying like, dude, we love this shit. Like, keep doing it. Like,
It's really good. And you know what?
That's like really exciting.
The whole jamming on top of somebody else's music thing, I think the coolest thing about that is that you really want to become a part of the music, like you want to be a part of it so much to the fact that you kind of, you put yourself in your mind, even though I'm just, in the bedroom and everything, I'm in your mind, you're there jamming with the people and stuff, it's a good vibe. I've had dreams where I'm jamming with my favorite bands, Yeah. It was a crazy feeling. I was jamming on stage with people everywhere.
With the Bee Gees.
Oh. Sorry, I was trying to think of a joke, but I was too busy laughing at me up on stage with the Bee Gees. Just like this brown dude who hanging out with these. Where were the Bee Gees from? Yeah, where are they? They weren't Greek, were they?
Well, they ain't from Cleveland. Oh, maybe they are. I don't know.
Hey, man, what's funny? Sorry, guys. Let's talk about the Bee Gees for like 10 seconds, okay? Every time I think about the Bee Gees, I always forget that they have regular voices that sound like these. Like, I imagine every time they talk, it's like, hey, Barry, how you doing? It's like, real good. Like, I can't imagine. Thank you. I can't imagine the Bee Gees having like regular talking voices. And they say Michael Jackson used to fake his high pitched voice.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's a theory.
I've seen that video on YouTube, that compilation of Michael Jackson using his real voice, and
it sounds like Barry White, really.
Yeah, he has a deep voice. It's pretty. I buy it. I think it's true. He definitely probably like was.
Who knows, man?
Persona and whatnot.
So, All right, folks. So let's get into the name. After now that we heard the first song, let's get into the name really quick. Loneborn. Who thought of the name?
This guy.
Very cool.
Oh yeah, it was me.
That boy was me.
What happened on that fateful night when you came up with that name?
Dude, real funny.
And how naked
story.
were you all?
I already had like a paper full of names that I collected for years. Just one
The
name
name
sounded
bank.
cool. Yeah, I had like a little diary of name bands.
It's
you know?
locked up.
The little
Deep
black
into his
book.
room.
I
with
ripped
band
one
names.
page out. I highlighted it. Denied. I did it again. And then we picked out Loneborn.
What were some of the reject names, if you remember any of them? That'd be fun to listen to. I'd like to hear that.
Neon Blood.
Neon Blood. Oh man. Dude, hardcore right there.
Yeah, it sounded too metal.
That's amazing. Neon, what is Neon Blood?
Neon
Blood.
That's
Blood.
amazing.
Yeah, you bleed Ultra Music Festival. Dude.
You bleed sidechain compression.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. You know, in a way, I met a little kid who's a big YouTube fan. Like he likes to watch all these videos and stuff. And he
YouTube?
he has not made an account for himself. He's like 9 years old. He's like this doctor's kid pop. Anyway, he's made an alter ego for himself, and he calls himself Neon Dorito.
Neon Dorito. That's a hit in the making.
It was
We're gonna be
amazing.
hearing
Yeah,
about
and I told
Neon-
him, and it's
Neon
funny.
Dorito in a few years.
Yeah, because he told me he's like Neon Dorito, and I was like, is that your actual name? He's like, yeah. I was like, it's an amazing idea, kid. I was like, you know what? Never let that go,
Yeah.
because at some point you're gonna blow up with that name.
Yo,
Neon
that could be
Dorito.
our next album name. In
Neon
honor
Dorito.
of Neon Dorito.
Neon Blood.
Dorito.
I'd like to hear a song by Loneborn called Neon Blood.
That's not too. That I think sounds a little bit more realistic than
As a
entire
song,
band name.
that actually it gives me cool ideas thinking about that.
Cool.
Halloween is coming up, so
Neon Blood.
Tattoo it on
Dig
your
it.
back.
Neon
Blood.
Neon
Single
Blood.
coming out in October.
Yeah, tramp stamp. Neon
if
Blood.
I could do the blood thing, I would do the neon and then the
Right.
blood logo. But I can't. The best I could do is the weird one finger thing.
The
But,
funny thing is,
the disgusting one.
when we decided on the name Loneborn,
Yes.
I went to school for design. First thing I think about,
You went to school for design?
yeah, for
That's
graphic
awesome.
design.
I don't know.
I design our albums. Well, at least the first.
That was the
first
next thing I'm
album.
going to get into is the album art. Very cool. I like that. Well, actually, we get into it right now.
Yeah.
The album art. Please tell us about the art style, because I think it's one of the coolest things. And I was talking to a friend of mine earlier about that. I like your art style a lot. You know, it's very simplistic, but it says a lot. You know, and,
Yeah.
it really makes you rely on the music to tell the story. Like the music and the visuals go very well, but you know how some people overcompensate? They try to give you that amazingly, expensive looking video for the shitty song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people try to cover up things with the visuals. You know what I mean? I think what you've done with it is blend. It all goes together. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Is that it really comes across as a nice package deal. You know what I mean? It really does. Because if I didn't know, man, I would assume that you have people in your corner that are almost helping you guys out. You know what I mean? Like studio pushes, and people have, artists. They get backup to help them tell their story. They get They hire photographers and they hire all these other people. It looks like the stuff that you guys are doing. It all has a nice theme and a nice image to it. So cheers to that.
Yeah.
How did we do that?
I think where it came from is when we had that realization of like, okay, we have some songs, they feel legit. I was like, I think we like kind of were thinking like, how far can we take this and make it feel as legit as possible, down to like the aesthetic, how we present ourselves on social media, et cetera, et cetera. And we wanted to see how far we could actually get without spending like a single dime. Like I'm lucky enough to work in a studio, so we recorded the whole EP essentially for free.
Don't even get me started on the audio quality.
Yeah.
Don't even.
But
we'll get into the geeky stuff later. Trust me. I'm like, this is that analog sound.
So then like Jonathan being like this great graphic artist, if you follow him at all, you know that he's been doing this thing called I Love Rock and Roll Stuff for a while, which is kind of
so
like
good.
This shop that he has set
double
up,
marketing.
set up on Etsy, and he's got this really unique style where he'll take like a famous rock stars and stuff, and then just kind of like.
Well, you're a very good vector artist.
Yeah, he'll go in and vectorize them. That's what you want to call
Thank
it.
you.
So originally we tried it. I think you tried to do something like that, but it was too obvious that it was us. So I was like, what if we try something that's a little bit more like silhouetted? Let's get a little bit more
abstract with it, right?
Yeah, a little bit more
interpretive,
oblique with it, if you want.
Well, I was going all Cowboy Bebop. I don't know if any of y'all kids know, but I'm super anime inspired. And
That's
Cowboy
why he's dressed
Bebop,
like Fei Long right now.
Cowboy Bebop is like one of those animes that has a look. Is like it has the colors, the shadows.
Yeah,
It's like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You see the colors, and it's a visual image that comes with, like with the music.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to do, something like that. So that was probably the inspiration for the first design that we did. And did it go through? Yeah, I think it went through.
It went through.
It went through.
So I think that's the first thing we posted was like this kind of like silhouette of both of us, and that's what we just put on Instagram. So it's just we did like the whole kind of grid thing.
I went with that kind of style. That I
Oh
wanted,
yes,
the Cowboy
I
Bebop
remember
style.
that vaguely now. Yeah.
And then I think we just blindly started following people on Instagram, and luckily I think that even though there was no music yet, I mean this is like maybe a week before we actually posted music, because the design was like kind of like eye catching, and it was like, oh, this shit looks legit. I think people stuck around to see what it was.
Yes.
And so
Very
that
nice
worked.
color theory, Jonathan.
Right after that, I started doing the Stranger Eyes single design.
I like that song a lot too. I was listening to it earlier today.
And the thing about Stranger Eyes is it was just a drawing that I just wanted to like put out. I was like, oh, I didn't put any thought into it.
That's the secret. Don't put thought into it, kids.
It kind of is.
No,
in a way.
it's
It can't
not.
be.
I mean, it is, and it isn't. It isn't. I don't want to say how you.
Double-edged sword.
I'll say that for me, for how I do things, I try not to think about anything that I do or put too much thought into it. Like my best work and designs come out from not stressing over doing day after day stuff.
I want to hit on that because that to me has like been like a huge thing that I've taken away from this whole project, is that I am the polar opposite of that, and I overthink everything, and I tend to be like overly perfectionist to the point where I won't get anything done, which is
Sounds like I have the same problem.
I think a lot of creative people are like that.
Is it a brown thing?
and so I think Jonathan being this like kind of like more like carefree, just like go for it kind of person.
Yeah, I say yes to everything. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, that looks good.
But,
that looks good.
it's like we've met in this like happy middle ground, but I've also like been learning a lot to just like have fun with it and just like let go and trust your own kind of like instinct and your own talent to an extent, because it actually lets you get stuff out there, and like for the longest time when I try to do my own stuff, it never sees the light of day. It just sits in the studio and is version 25 or whatever, and then you're just like, screw it, you know what I mean?
I'm with you on that. But you know what? It's true. I think that's actually, and that speaks to any art, almost anything that you're passionate about. It's hard to know when to quit. It's hard to know when to stop. It's hard to know when to call it complete. Because I think our ambition sometimes overtakes our like realistic ability to just kind of call it a complete work of art.
Yeah.
At some point, you just want to say, no, I could make it better if I with
for
one
sure.
more day,
I mean,
more day of work.
I can tell you right now that I hear any of the songs we've put out and I still cringe in certain parts because I'm just like, you gotta change that.
Timing was there, this and yeah.
But you gotta live with it. and
Why'd
just
you
gotta
put
it out.
the Bee Gees in that song?
Yeah.
Give me that night fever, night
No,
fever.
but even our designs, they weren't even done.
Some
We
of them,
just
aren't
said,
fully
let's
done.
go with it with what we got.
So let's talk equipment really quick.
Sure.
Actually, you know what? Really quick, before we get into equipment, folks, let's go ahead and preview another song. Thank you everybody in the chat for hanging out again with Samuel. Yeah.
A round of applause,
Alexander says she
everybody.
loves Neon Blood. And actually today, Keenan and Kel has been produced at a live studio audience or whatever.
There's this live
We
studio
actually had a
audience
live
here.
studio
This is
audience
something I
today,
didn't know
so-
about this podcast.
So cheers to the live studio. I'm saying that though.
They're out there.
The show is a lot.
There
the show
it
is always
is.
more fun with that. So let's cheers to you guys. So next song, let's actually go into Stranger's Eyes. Stranger's Eyes, folks. I like this song a lot. One of the newer songs, right?
No, it was from the first EP.
Oh, it's okay, cool.
An oldie. But a
Good
good.
goodie.
No big goodie.
So let's let that roll for a little bit.
Stranger's eyes multiply and align while we try to disguise. Don't you
Fan questions. Fan questions.
For everybody at home, that was Stranger's Eyes by Loneborn. Very, very rad song. Another great hook, man. I'm telling you, you guys got the hooks, man. You guys know how to bury that image in there,
This guy's
man.
the hook master.
You're hooking me with this.
He's responsible for like a majority of. Look, this guy's dropping your stuff everywhere. I'm sorry.
That's completely fine. No, rival.
Sorry.
I blame gravity.
Yeah, it is gravity's fault.
But yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, guys, for checking out that song. That was a really good one, right?
Thanks.
Don't you guys think so? I thought it was a really good one. Leanna, in the live studio audience, has a question for
Hello.
Raul. She asks, "Were you always a singer?"
The answer is I still don't consider myself a singer. But
You're
no,
gonna James Hetfield that answer, right?
yeah, no. But I guess I've been able to say that I can I sing, I guess, for maybe about 2 years now, roughly.
Okay.
But before that, I mean, I've been singing since I was probably 14, 15, but I promise you, if you heard me at 15, you would walk out of the room. That's not just me, being dramatic, that's legit, but I say this to give hope to anyone who maybe likes to sing and feels like they sing like garbage. You can get better, you just gotta keep going, and I still feel like I need a lot of improvement, and so...
What's the biggest thing you have to overcome is, a lot of people are really, I notice a lot of people are really critical about their own voice.
Ooh.
Obviously because they hear it in their own head, so, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is obviously learn
That's the
to
truth.
build your ear so that you can know if you're hitting the right or wrong note. Surprisingly enough, a game like Rock Band is something that will directly tell you if you're hitting the note wrong or not.
It's a good practice, man.
So it's a good practice. Once you can hit notes, the next thing you really got to work on is
Timing.
your delivery and timing and all that stuff. And that's just, for me, that's just something that comes from confidence. And you just got to keep doing it over and over until eventually somebody's like, hey, that doesn't sound half bad, you know?
I like it, man. I like that a lot, man. No, the vocals are one of the things that is the most interesting about the songs, because even as instrumentals, they would all sound very good, you know. But it's the vocals that you guys are able to put in this very catchy. I don't know, man. It's hard to describe. The melodies have a, I don't want to say haunting vibe because that makes it sound kind of spooky, but there's a certain vibe.
There's nothing wrong with
There's a
spooky.
certain vibe to the vocals, and
Yeah.
it really completes everything. It kind of brings it all together. And there's when I listen back to the music, it's really funny because it's hard to believe that these guys just kind of they're right in front of me. You know what I mean? It's cool talent is hard to believe like that. I think and I'm sure it's hard to imagine that it's you that I'm talking about right now.
Oh yeah, I still
because
believe it.
yeah, even when somebody tells me, I play well, I'm like, no,
I think that's what feels
never.
That's what feels the most wild. I mean, we're obviously celebrating every little milestone. When we got to 1,000 listens, we were like, holy shit! Got
The biggest point in your career is clearly today.
to 5,000. No, 10. I mean, yeah, we've never been asked to do a podcast before,
No.
so that's cool. But I think that what makes it so cool. I mean, there's plenty of artists that are hitting 1 million, no big deal. It's fine. But for us, it feels like a big deal because it really does feel like we kind of like you said, we didn't try too hard, and it just feels like it's working to an extent.
I love it, man.
So there is an aspect of holy shit, this is going a lot further than we thought. And so even just a small number, 20K on one song, feels ridiculous.
I think Jonathan said earlier is that a certain
What
a
did I say?
certain element of not overthinking it really helps you go a long way,
Yeah.
man. And it's tough because, and I relate to you in the terms that I'm very kind of hard on myself.
Yeah.
If something is not in time or if something is not said the way, I'm big on dynamics, musical dynamics. If something is not said properly, it's not good enough. So I'm hard on myself like that too. But to a certain extent, you gotta kind of have that carefree attitude because people recognize when somebody else is having fun.
Yeah.
It's easy to see that, and it's hard to not want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? When people see that you're taking yourself too seriously, and they see that you're, miserable, or you know what I mean, I think it's Chris Tucker or it's Chris Rock or it's one of those stand-up.
One of the
comedians.
Chris's.
One of the Chris's.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He said a long time ago that at some point you could, if your car breaks down and you ask a bunch of people for help, they'll all pass you by. But if you start pushing your car, somebody will actually pull over and help you out because they want to see that you're trying to help yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
And to a certain extent, it's kind of like that, but with fun is what I'm trying to inject that into.
Sure,
You
yeah.
guys put a lot of fun into your music, and when I listen back to it, it doesn't feel miserable. You know, it's got everything has a nice groove to it. There's always a lightheartedness to every song, even if it's got a serious subject.
Yeah.
Like the lyrics on Ghost, you know, I thought was pretty, you know, introspective.
Yeah.
You know, which we'll check out that song in a little bit, folks. I like the song a lot, and I've been researching it, folks.
Oh yeah.
Really?
I have. I really took a listen.
Here we go.
I dove in.
Wikipedia.
You know what I mean?
Not quite there yet. That'll be another
Wiki.
milestone if we get to Wikipedia status.
What'd you find out? I want to know.
What did I find out?
Yeah, your research.
Through all of the music.
Yeah.
It's all the stuff that I'm saying. It's basically, it sounds fun, you know? It sounds fun. It's simplistic. It has this nice analog sound. To me, I describe it as 80s indie. And I've been using that in all the descriptions for the music because that's the vibe I get.
Yeah.
I
It's
feel
got
like
an
the
80s
music-
feel
the-
for sure.
The music
yeah.
definitely lives in the 80s. You could tell.
Oh man, you should see my room.
I've seen the back of your car.
That's enough. That's true.
That told me enough.
I got stickers
All the
of.
Joan Jett you could ask for.
I got everybody from the 80s in the back.
You know what I mean? Lots of Bowie, even though he was more 70s. But, well, not more, but he started in the 70s. Am I tripping?
What?
Bowie, David Bowie, 70s.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for
okay,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
I don't listen to Bowie. No. Save Your Tomatoes. I don't listen to him, but I know he started out around there. Whatever. If there's any David Bowie fans, check out Sue George. He is a Brazilian acoustic guitar player who did a bunch of covers of David Bowie songs,
Oh
and
damn.
they were dope sauce.
Brazilian Bowie.
Anyway, folks, let's get into some equipment of what we were going to talk about earlier. So, we don't have to get into everything, but you say you play guitar and bass.
Yeah.
What is your guitar and bass of choice if you could decide? I know it's a hollow body because I can hear it.
It's actually not. It's actually surprisingly the last guitar anyone would ever expect. It's a Yamaha.
Love Yamaha.
Because I've always had this kind of like idea about Yamahas being like this kind of like, you know, lower tier brand. But I walked into Guitar Center one day and they just had like these 3 Yamahas on display like right there. And I remember being with a friend and I even like made a joke about it. I was like, dude, who plays Yamahas, bro?
They're so good though.
I know. Oh, I learned.
You learned.
I've
You learned.
grown,
Yeah,
I've grown.
true.
And I remember I just like grabbed it just because it looked nice at the same time. I'm like, it does look nice. So I picked it up. And it's like one of the newer lines that
Is it
they
a
have.
Pacifica?
No.
What is it?
I'm actually blanking out on the name right now.
It's okay. Yeah.
But I was playing it and immediately I was like, holy shit, I need this guitar.
What do you like the most about it? The neck, the pickups?
It's
This is the gear. This is the nerdy talk, folks. So if you guys don't play music,
The
have
nerds.
fun getting yourself a drink.
The pickups.
So I think everything about it, it's got a nice weight to it. The neck is really nice, and it's got humbuckers, which I've like fallen in love with humbuckers ever
Love
since. Like my first real guitar that I got was a '72 Deluxe Telecaster
A 7? Oh, the 72 reissue.
reissue.
Love
Come
those.
on, come
No,
on.
just to make sure. You never know. The stuff gets passed down.
No.
Hey, those guitars. That's actually one of my favorite guitars, and I've wanted it for a long time.
Yeah, so I got really like I fell in love with that sound, the humbucker sound, and then this had that, but then just had a more slick feel to it.
Yes.
So I've been using that as my main guitar for a while now.
Very
And,
nice.
For the bass, I just use a Fender Precision.
P-bass. Gotta go with
We got
P-bass.
some questions.
Question in the audience.
When I first did.
Huh?
When do you think you'll be ready to perform? Like, or when?
So
When do you think you'll be
gigging.
ready
I think
to
that's
perform
a
with the
question we've gotten a lot from messages on Instagram and stuff. People asking like, when do you come to California? I was like, hold up, we haven't.
Wait a second.
Yeah, I was like,
Take it easy.
Hey,
We
take
can-
it easy. Take it easy.
Yeah, you'd be better off visiting us.
So,
Yo, I'd love to go to Cali though. Don't.
Yeah.
You get us the ticket.
Yeah,
We'll
no,
be there in
no.
a heartbeat.
So I think
Let me open up for you.
I've played in a bunch of bands and we've played plenty of shows and stuff, and it's fun. But the biggest thing about playing live is that number one, the pay is usually a joke.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like
They'll cover your bar tab if you don't drink much.
if you get paid. Let's just start
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, I'll give you like 3 drink tickets and
You know what I mean? Yeah, really.
And
To wash
mean,
away your misery.
there's an extent of that where it's just fun, you know. If you don't
Yeah.
take yourself too seriously, it's super fun to go on stage at a place like Churchill's. It's like messy, it's dirty, it's loud. You just go crazy. Your guitar gets unplugged, but nobody cares. Everyone's having a good time. Whatever.
Too
That
drunk to notice.
I've done enough of that to where I'm like, okay, I've gotten that, and I don't necessarily want to do that with this project right now. So, and another thing that causes, I personally feel like playing live slows down the whole process a lot, because then you've got to rehearse, you've got to get people coordinated, everybody's
It
got to
does.
come, blah blah blah. And,
More rehearsal.
We gotta make sure it sounds exactly like the song. It's
Yeah.
gotta be on
People
time.
get critical,
it's
dude.
gotta-
yeah.
Yeah.
I have friends that are also in bands, obviously, and I see some of that. Sometimes they post their YouTube comments that people
Yeah.
leave, and they'll be like, "This does not sound like the studio recording.
You played an E minor. You're supposed to play an F
You're
minor.
dumbing down the drums."
Yeah.
But
But I'm
that's
not
the biggest complaint,
so-
because a lot of metal bands do digital drums. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
Neon blood bands and
So
we don't like
so to not like skirt around the question, I guess, is
Oh, yeah.
we do want to like. I think that we do want to play a show live. I think there just needs to be like enough of a reason to. Right now, I don't think we want to like play a show just for the sake of playing a show. I mean, I would love to be able to play a show and have an audience that's there to like listen to our music. So you know that people who know the songs and actually want to see it live. And I feel like that's kind of like building up because of the fact that we're not playing shows. And I think
There's a demand,
people
yeah.
want to see it, and we just want to let like there be demand, and it needs to make sense because of the fact that we are just two people. I can't play bass, guitar, sing, and synths at the same time. You know what I mean?
That's a tough one.
So the reality is we would have to get other musicians involved. I have a bunch of friends that are very, very talented musicians, and it could happen. But I also don't want to waste anyone's time. I don't want to like get all these people together and then we play a show that 30 people show up to, and 5 people only actually care about the music. You know what I mean? So we're waiting for the right time, and I think it'll happen.
Or we could just white stripes it and just go you and me, and I'll sound nothing like the real song. But it'll be cool. It'll be pretty cool for the cool kids. Or, you know, Goro from Mortal Kombat, I'll just grow some arms and just play everything.
It's a possibility too.
Be like, where are you from, Jonathan?
Oh, I'm
This guy's from New York.
Yeah.
He'd be the New York Shiva.
Can't you tell this guy was born and raised in New York?
Can't you
From the
tell?
streets of Shiva. That's
From
right.
Brooklyn. The mean streets of Brooklyn. And so, Jonathan, what about you and your equipment, dog?
Oh man,
What type
my
of skins are you in, brother?
don't you dare ask me that question. I don't even know.
Slapping, bruh?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
So that's, I think. Sorry, go ahead. We have more questions. I love it.
It's a beautiful thing. More questions from the live studio audience.
What about
Nickelodeon
music
Studio.
video or something?
What about the
There's
music
a lot
video?
of
And actually,
demands we're
Alexander in the
getting.
chat
A lot of
asked-
demands.
Oh
She's
my!
asking the
we
hard
want
questions. She's asking
everything.
the questions that
Put it
all
on the
people wanna know.
table.
No, music video is something I think we've been talking about and we think about. I think those are also like really tricky. I've seen music videos that kind of like ruin the entire like kind of perception that people have of a band.
Yeah.
I think very purposefully we've been trying to stay with like I don't like to post like myself a lot on the Instagram, for example. Like we'll post stuff like once in a while we'll post a picture of ourselves, but mostly it'll be the designs or like you know like the graphic stuff that we do, and the animation stuff that we do, because of the fact that I like the idea of people having like their own kind of like visual representation of what the music sounds like to them. That said, I know I'm giving like cop out answers, but
No, it's
essentially
a legit answer.
this is our thought process. But again, it's stuff that we're slowly like rolling out and building. I think the main focus from the get-go was number 1, let's have fun, and number 2, let's make good songs.
Absolutely.
And we've been doing that, and I think slowly it's starting to make more and more sense to like the same way we decided one day, okay, we should probably put this on Spotify. Okay, we should probably make an Instagram, step by step. Rather than I've been in so many bands that we try to do all that at once, and it just like fucking, it's like a
pressure
plane
just
that's just taking
crumbles.
off and then just crashes. And it's like oh.
People do get overwhelmed really quickly.
Yeah.
The crowd
And
gets
so,
overwhelmed.
so these are all things we definitely want to do, and we're looking for the right person to help us out with that, and the
Yeah.
right concept and the right song. Like I think Ghost is a song that we'd love to do that for.
Absolutely.
There's others too, and you never know. Maybe
I think Ghost would be great. This is my opinion. Ghost would be great. Stranger's Eyes is really nice.
We take any recommendations.
I like the other one. What's is it Lucky Stars? What's it called?
The
Yeah,
Lucky
Lucky
Stars.
Just
Yeah,
Lucky
I like
Stars.
that song. I like that tune a lot too. Very cool stuff, man. I was digging the vibes.
Super 80s right there.
That
It's
one-
extremely
that
80s,
one
you know what I
goes
mean? I
really
think,
80s, yeah.
trust me, I think there's some good stuff in there, you know, and this is my 2 cents, of course. What I would really like from a music video from you guys is something that tells a big story, but you know, you guys are probably in it just for like a couple of seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just something that's mostly other people.
We'll
you know,
be
like
the
we get
Easter
to watch
egg
the story.
in
And, well, kind of. You know what I mean? Like maybe the band, like maybe like one of the guys or girls or whatever, they walk by somewhere and you guys are playing in the stage right behind them or something. Just you know, and even if you're blurred in the background, you know, just something that's very, because I think that's the vibe right now of the music, is that you guys are there but not so in the forefront, you know, which I think it would keep in theme and it would look really cool. Like,
We could be
it would give you a
cameos.
chance,
Yeah.
and they give you a chance to tell a big story without having to worry about, you know, how am I gonna make myself look interesting holding the guitar or playing the drums for so long.
Sure, yeah.
you know?
If we do a music video, it's just been a thought on my mind to make it look as much like the art as possible,
exactly,
even if it's
have
not
that theme.
animated, you know, but
Mhm.
to have that same vibe.
I agree with that completely, because it needs that. Because I like where it's going a lot, and it needs that whole thing. So next topic I would like to bring up with you folks is influences, folks. Raul, Jonathan, I know maybe you guys might have two different influences.
Here's my influence right here. This Yingling is the best.
You know, let's get under a certain.
We're not sponsored.
influence.
Take it easy.
You know what I mean? I'm actually gonna bring some alcohol for you guys while you answer that question really quickly.
Sure.
I will be right back.
Man,
Tom, you
think
should step in
hard.
the meantime.
All right, so now that this guy's gone, welcome to the Loneborn podcast. No, just kidding. No, so I mean, I think for you, one of the ones that you kept, one of the first songs that we wrote.
Wait, let's think about this.
Okay.
Let him answer my influences. See if he's right.
Okay, so I know for a fact, one of the first influences you came to me with when we first started with the first song we wrote was the Strokes. There's definitely some Strokes action there. I don't know if our music ended up sounding very Strokesy, but I do think that was one of your main influences where... Oh, thanks, man.
Anybody that wants a Youngling, feel free.
It doesn't sound
This is the first one
strokesy.
I grabbed.
It does not. It sounds nothing like.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds a little bit.
Yeah, but
Definitely
I think
a little bit, but
So I
it's
heard
not.
the Strokes while I was gone.
Yeah,
Who's inspired by the Strokes? Ro?
this guy. I mean,
Oh.
I love the Strokes too, but this guy specifically
Oh damn!
Kept
You know
kinda-
what? Now that I hear that,
kept kind of bringing in some. If you, I mean, I don't know if we'll ever release it, but there's definitely a few like B-sides hidden in on the computer
Oh
somewhere.
yeah, we have a
where
B-side.
the
Strokes
early
song.
stuff
Yeah,
sounded
for sure.
like Strokes. We even got a little bit of Vampire Weekend inspiration there for a bit. That song never saw the light of day either.
Oh, I hear it all the time.
This guy hears it, but nobody else will.
So we
My
got the
girlfriend hears
Strokes.
it all the time. She plays it all the time.
All right, so we got the Strokes. Who else?
I
What's
think
more?
for me, one of the maybe like.
Wait, I want to answer you.
Okay, go for it. Let's see what we got.
Michael Jackson,
Yeah, definitely. No.
Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston was a
Yeah,
huge
yeah,
influence. I mean,
yeah.
Stranger's
Michael
Eyes.
Bublé.
Oh,
Michael Bublé. Stranger's
I
Eyes
was trying to
actually.
remember one of his songs, but I know none of them.
Stranger's Eyes actually cover
All I
Michael
know is he
Bublé.
sounds like this.
No, for sure, as Tall's Lines.
Okay, you got me with that one. That's what I was gonna say. So, As Tall as Lines was a band that I was like super into in high school, and
How tall are lions? Like 5'7"?
that's a good question. I never.
That's all right. Like,
I never.
when they
played
stand
the,
up, is it,
How born is Loneborn?
how lone are they?
Yeah. So As Tall as Lines
Okay.
for me was like huge, and what I kind of drew from that was the vocal style a lot. For this, I feel like I can kind of change my vocal style depending on the project, but for this one, what made sense was a little bit of like that kind of like falsetto-y harmony, like very spaced out.
I noticed that
vocals.
also. You're not afraid of falsetto, man.
Yeah, no.
Which is
It's fun.
good.
It's fun.
It's good.
Trust me,
But it's hard to make it sound
I'll be
really
the first
good.
person to tell you that was definitely not first take falsettos. Those were definitely, got a trial and error. Cause
Yeah, he had to
it's a
earn
lot
that
of-
Dark Soul style. He had to
voice cracks.
Fight hard for those.
But the more you do it, the better you get. And so I think even by the second EP, I was already getting more of a feel for that.
No lie, I was hearing that, and that's actually something that I noted. I forgot to bring it up, but yeah, man, lots of falsetto. In reality, it reminded me, and take this the best way, and I like this music a lot. First Justin Timberlake album,
Yeah,
I heard
Yeah,
it
yeah.
back in the day when it came out, and I
It's
was
a
like,
hit,
man,
dude.
this is good. Lots of falsetto, but he makes it sound
it's a
amazing.
hit. No, just
Like Cry Me a River, who doesn't like that last bit in that song? He's just killing it with the falsetto. So
Great.
good.
Who's another one?
Yes, more influences. So
More
Let's
we
get them
got.
all. Bring them all out on the table.
Big one for me, it was also Mute Math. Rhythmically and like sonically with some of the production stuff. I was really big into Mute Math for a long time. Also in high school, I brought back a lot of like the high school influences. If you're not familiar with Mute Math, they're a band that kind of flew under the radar for most of their existence. They're still around, but they were great. Like, you know, all their whole discography is great.
What is Mute Math?
Mute Math, yeah. I think
I
if
gotta
you-
check them out.
If you listen to them, I think you'll hear some of the same kind of production, like crossover there.
Yeah, when you mentioned the Strokes, I was like, like,
Yeah.
of course. How did I not get it before?
Well,
So
it doesn't
I gotta
sing.
check out Mute Math because I'm sure I'll.
Singing wise, it's not Strokes, but you do hear
No.
more Mute Math. When,
No, the
with
singer from the Strokes
vocals.
always sounds like he's like half asleep.
Yeah.
I like their music,
the
but he always
charm.
Oh,
sounds
we're
very
awake.
sleepy.
We're full awake when we don't sleep on the
Yeah,
job,
we'll
you
Try
know.
not to sleep on the job.
They are the
I think
they
I-
are the cocaine of '80s indie.
On the first EP, I think a big influence was also coming from you, and then eventually bled over into me, was the Beach Boys.
Neon Bled.
Yeah, Neon bled over. Yeah, the Beach Boys.
The
Beach
boys.
Boys.
The
Beach
boys.
Yeah.
Man, them boys.
Yeah,
so,
man.
So
I always talk about this. The boys. You know, you got all the boys. You got the Beastie Boys. You got the Beach Boys.
And you got the Freemason boys.
Freemason boy. Well, something that I don't think many of our songs really, maybe Darling a little bit has that
Oh,
kind of like Beach
yeah,
Boys
yeah,
vibe.
no, for sure.
But I think what we drew from that was like you jokingly says the boys, and what we would do is anytime we would do like these big like overarching like harmonies or like harmony pads that were like stacked and stuff with like oohs and ahs. We'd call that the boys. So sometimes we'd be like almost done with the song.
I tell Raul, hey, look, I think it's time we bring in the boys.
And I'm like, you sure? You sure the boys are gonna come
Is it
out?
time for the boys?
And I will say, there's been times when the boys came out, and the boys weren't meant to be on the song, and so we killed the boys.
Nah, but the boys gotta be in there.
But the
Look
boys,
at me. I know the boys are in the back right there.
yep. Those oohs and ahs, those are the boys.
Hey,
And that helps
I
you
heard
get
the boys back there.
Uh,
Oh man, it's funny because most of the time when people say the boys, they're talking about their balls.
yeah.
Well,
I don't think
That's
I've ever
hilarious.
referred to that as the boys.
It's funny,
It's very popular slang.
When we were doing the song Darling,
Yes.
I was thinking I was just hearing the Beach Boys almost every day. You could ask him. I just hear it every day, talk about it every day. And then
It's a vibe.
a few years before that, I was obsessed with the Police. And I would think of mixing like some kind of the bass lines in that song with kind of like the vibe I'm listening to now with the Beach Boys. And as we started working with the song with Raul, it started to turn into some Weezer stuff. You were saying it
the
sounded
chorus
like
definitely
Weezer.
goes into Weezer territory.
Yeah, and that was not me. That was all him. He started adding the Weezer, and it just sounded great. It sounded great.
I'll be honest, I haven't heard
You stuck his Weezer in there.
in a while, but sometimes Weezer just kind of comes up behind you and is like, "What's up? I'm Weezer. I'm here to fuck up your song."
Weezer, not wheezing, Weezer.
I do hear some Weezer. Man, it's funny, and this is why I'm starting to enjoy these
Weezer's awesome, by
band
the way.
podcast
Yeah.
episodes because now that I get to ask, because normally I don't get the chance to ask a musician about like all these breakdown questions. I'm like learning all the influences and the styles and stuff, and it all makes so much sense when you listen back to the music. When I try to deconstruct what's being put into my ears, it makes so much sense.
We don't think
Based on
about
what
it
you
at
guys
the
are saying.
time, but the more I hear the music,
I think
like
another one that kind of popped in for a second was Hello Goodbye, the newer stuff that they had done.
yeah, I was always like a big fan of Hello Goodbye.
I haven't checked
The
much of
music,
their
the
stuff.
music.
Hello Goodbye is a band that as a teenager, I was like so like
Take me away, right?
They're too like whatever you want to call them, but
At the time, times have changed.
Yeah,
but it was
and-
girly for us back in the day.
yeah, and so
Back in the day.
if you haven't kept up with that band and you brush them off as this kind of like emo pop boy band thing, listen to them now. They've definitely evolved, and one of Would It Kill You, I think, is the album. That album to me like changed my mind entirely, and for me to go from heavily disliking a band to like falling in love with this album, that's like
Whoa,
big deal. And so like
it's a big leap.
yeah, it's a big leap. So
Oh yeah, they
they're-
sounded real like childish back then. Like
Yeah.
they really grew up. They
Some
changed.
strange. I remember listening to it. It was very strange music.
yeah, a lot of auto tune in there.
Lots of auto tune and synthesizers
Yeah, yeah.
and just very strange. a guitar would come out of nowhere.
That's a good album to listen to. If you ever like our music
So-
and you want to hear some more stuff that sounds like that, you listen to that album.
Yeah, would kill you.
All right. So in the meantime,
I remember I liked their song Here in Your Arms.
Oh,
live studio audience, we've got "Here in Your Arms" by who's that band again?
So goodbye.
By Hello Goodbye. Check that out. Put that in. Put some south in your mouth. So really quick, let's go ahead and check out Ghosts. We mentioned the song a little bit earlier. Let's go ahead and input a bit of Loneborn into your eardrum. Yeah. This is a good tune.
Ghost of York was
Ghost of York. That is in New York.
was in the song line. One of the first songs I got into. It. We actually don't know where these people are coming from. I think it's all word of mouth. And I think Spotify is really good about that. I think some people have asked me like why you specifically kind of push Spotify over like iTunes or YouTube, SoundCloud. But Spotify, they have a lot of, they pay a lot of attention to like artists, and they give artists a lot of control over like their music and how they want to push it out. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but they have like crazy algorithms that kind of connect the dots, and they're like, this person likes this person likes this person likes this. Throw it on a playlist, and then suddenly you've got this kid in like New Zealand listening to your song. You're like, I don't
So
know.
for anybody catching up, that was Ghost by Loneborn, and really quick, we're talking about the algorithms of Spotify, because you guys use Spotify to push your music a lot compared to iTunes or Amazon Music or Google Play or anything like that.
Yeah.
And same here, honestly. I feel like Spotify is definitely the wave to be riding right now.
Yeah.
Because I just got, I pay for Spotify. I got it like 6 months ago, and man, it's the new thing, man. It's really good. They offer you a lot of music, a lot of features. It's just a really good service, man. Like I can't argue with it. If you're somebody these days that wants to be able to support the artist, you want to support the people that you like to listen to, Spotify's a good way, and they also pay you pretty decently, man. Like for streams. And this is just some insider baseball for you guys, but like the way that Spotify kind of returns you for the streams is a lot better than you'd expect. Don't think we're all millionaires, but
It's a slow creep.
It's better than you might think. And don't get me wrong, like for me, I'll keep it 2,000. Like even for me, like I don't get that many streams, but I've still been able to make, even through hundreds of streams, you'll actually make dollars. So just put that in your head.
Yeah.
That's as simple as it needs to be.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
Things
been
add
good.
up.
It's been good in that sense, and
Thankfully,
yeah.
because it's hard. Come on,
Yeah, yeah.
for real.
I-
Like, who's buying music these days?
Yeah, no, I honestly don't know what or where we would be if it wasn't for something like Spotify, because
You have to
these
fucking
days,
creep. That's why.
these days, I mean, you can put
No
post,
battle.
You post stuff on SoundCloud, and there's like no community there in a sense, and there's no kind of, like
SoundCloud is like SoundCloud is for people definitely 14 and under.
yeah, and it's
And I hate to
definitely
label people like that,
more
but
it's
man,
more like
That's a
electronic
youngin' crowd.
electronic centric, so that makes sense too, also to an extent. But
Very true, very true. It is for like you're right, because a lot of people post their DJ mixes on there.
yeah.
Well, Spotify is just easy to use. It's
Yes.
easy to get on and just press play and make playlists.
Yes, that's the biggest thing, man. You get to make playlists, and the way it's organized is really nice.
Yeah.
And I'm new to this kind of stuff. I put off Spotify for years. Like I'm new. Like I just got it.
Yeah.
and I'm really happy with it. I feel like my money's actually worth it. Like I don't regret ever having Spotify.
It's awesome, dude. I'm starting to use Spotify because if you ask him, he knows I'm an old-fashioned kind of person.
CDs.
I still use CDs. You can ask some of my friends.
Thrift shop.
All I do is collect CDs. Actually, I started listening to our album like last week.
This is true. It's been out for like, almost a month now, or last EP, and
Hey, it released last week.
this week, I think on Monday, he told me, he's like, yo, dude, I just listened to the EP all the way through for the first time. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
He hadn't heard it.
I just casually listened to it while we were making it, you know. Wasn't
Obviously.
like-
I mean, you hear it a million times, but it's one thing to hear the same song
but
over
to
and over
actually
and over.
sit down and hear.
But to sit down and hit play on Ghost and end on, I forget what the last track is, but it's like a totally different experience. you know?
Colorblind?
Colorblind, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right, color. I went through all 6 songs today. I was jamming on my headphones.
Me too.
Doing the
I was
research.
going through, yes. That makes the 2 of us, including one of the band members. You know, it was really good, man. Like it really felt like, and it was funny because by the time that it was done, it was the perfect reaction. I was like, it's done. You
It's
know,
done.
which is exactly what you fucking want. You don't want people to be like, when is this gonna finish?
Yeah.
You want people to be like, when's the next song coming out?
So I
That's the feeling I walked away
had
with.
one friend ask me just about that because we released the first EP in April and we just released the second EP in August. Both EPs having 6 songs each, and a friend asked like, why didn't you just wait till you had 12 songs to listen to?
Because you gotta feed the people slowly.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, essentially, it boils down to nobody knows or cares who we are. Nobody has the attention span to sit through 12 songs. I mean, if you look at like how the plays work out, maybe like 10% of the people who hear like the single will actually go through and listen to the entire EP, and that makes sense. I mean, I don't even have the time. Like, I'll find a band that I really really like. I'll hear a song and I'll put it on a playlist or something, and I'll keep listening to that song, and then I'm like moving around all day, and I barely ever get the time to even think like, oh, let me go check out their page, let me go listen to like
The whole album.
And we're talking like 12, 13, 14 songs, you know.
Jinx.
Yeah. So you owe me a beer, I guess. I don't know. But
I owe you a
I'm
beer.
already drinking yours, dude. Sorry.
yeah, I saw that, but
Oh.
it's all good. I mean,
Somebody needs a beer?
no. I mean, we're good.
To be honest, I have to definitely urinate. So I will give the floor to Loneborn for a minute or two while I go and do that thing, and then I will bring more alcohol for all of us to enjoy. So if anybody from the live studio audience wants to go ahead and occupy my seat, and keep
I don't know
Oh.
how you fit
Feel
47
free.
people in here, but it's insane. There's 47 people in the audience right now.
There are
Yeah.
47 actual human bodies.
They're very, very quiet. But it's good.
It's actually like Keenan and Kel.
So what do you want to hit me with? Hit me with some knowledge.
What knowledge? E equals MC Loneborn.
I don't think that's how it works.
Yo, my math, I think it's right.
You're gonna have to show your work.
It's funny, dude. I was hearing our music, and as I'm hearing it, I'm trying to put myself in like the shoes of somebody normal, like not us. I'm just trying to hear it as a casual
As
listener.
if you've never heard it before.
And man, it sounds pretty damn good.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I haven't been able to do that. Since I like mixed it and all that stuff, it's like 2 in my head. I think I'll have to like take a few months before I can actually hear it and feel like it's like something like fresh to me, you know?
It's hard to hear it and not analyze about everything.
Yeah.
Hey, we
Are
got.
you guys working on some stuff?
What's next? What's next?
What's next?
We got some T-shirts coming out soon. That's
we
what's
got
next.
some merchandise.
Merchandising.
Some
Merchandising.
merchandise. I think that's something that we've been getting a lot of messages of. Another thing people are asking also is like, are you guys ever going to press on vinyl? I would love to, but it's really expensive, and we need to make sure that we could actually move like 100, 200 units easily for it to make sense.
Loneborn stickers yet?
There should be. I don't know why there's not. This
I'm
guy's
a-
a sticker guy.
I'm a sticker maker and I make stickers for a living.
This guy makes stickers for a living. This is confirmed. This is
Yeah.
a true fact.
Well, it's not for a living. It's on the
No,
side.
for a
but
living,
for
confirmed.
fun. Okay.
This guy works at a sticker factory, and he makes stickers for a living when he's not in Loneborn.
I feed my family with the stickers.
Tell him about the great sticker war of 2019. It's coming next year.
The great sticker war with no survivors left except 2 lone-born men on top of a hill.
So I guess we're gonna be in like a, what is this, like a? So we're always, I think, separately. I mean, he works on he comes to me with ideas like literally with lyrics and a drum beat. That's usually how it comes to me, and I will work on ideas in the studio.
We are back. If anybody wants another beer.
So just to catch you up, we had a question from the audience.
Question from the live studio
And
audience.
they're asking if
Sorry
we're-
about that.
If we're working on any new music.
Are you guys working on any new music? Really quick, I'm sorry guys. You know, I do apologize for goofing off on the chat tonight. We were having such a good conversation. T. Brad Smith says, I love Spotify. I could not live without it unless I invested a ton of money into a bunch of CDs or just take it back to the CD burning days. True.
Nice,
Jenny
nice.
says,
That's what
love
I
the
do.
sound, super chill wave.
Chill wave.
That's a new one.
It is. I actually kind of.
Chill wave is pretty cool.
Yeah, chill wave is just like your tempo, but like down 40
Got
BPM.
chill wave for days.
T. Brad Smith says it's totally worth the $11 a month. Oh, the Spotify, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Spotify definitely is worth the money. I agree, man. It's a little pricey, but when you think about it, if I were to buy all the CDs that I listen to, I'd be in debt, and I'd have a lot of stuff I don't care about.
Yeah.
You know, because you just want to listen to something. And I don't care about Young Thug's new album. I've heard it, but yes.
He's still young?
My girlfriend just brought some lovely food, and my lovely girlfriend just brought some lovely food, so we'll just
Bon appetit.
2x that
Double
bad boy.
lovely.
Anyway, folks, one of the final topics I wanted to bring up, we talked about the music most of the episode, which is what we're here to do. But before we do get out of here in a little bit, I want to talk about your lives growing up. Not too personal, obviously, but life growing up. Where do you guys come from? Who are you people?
John.
Who are you and why are you?
I come from a small town on the border. No, that is
Border
not
of
true.
what?
On the border of the edge of the
I want
world.
to see where this goes because this is clearly a lie.
Okay,
Like on
wait,
the border
stop
of,
it.
like Jamaica.
I'm gonna go on forever. You stop it. I'll go.
Okay.
Who's
Yeah.
your dad and what does he do?
Well, we grew up here, I grew up in Hialeah. Pretty much, I was born and
Place
raised
where dreams go to die.
Hialeah, the down south.
Hialeah's a beautiful place.
The down
in its own
south.
way.
Yeah, I was born in Dallas, Texas, but pretty much also grew up in like Miami Lakes, Hialeah, that kind of area.
Cool.
So yeah, I went to Orlando for a few years to like learn how to engineer and all that stuff, like record, etc., etc. And I moved back here, and I've been like living in like South Miami ever since. So.
Cool.
We come from the same circle of friends. So before he left, I already kind of, we had the Loneborn thing. The fire was started.
I think that's worth talking about. We knew each other like somewhat in like middle school, and we're just like short little kids. Like
Yeah.
You
Wait,
know,
you speak for yourself. I was not short
I was
or
tall
a
for
little
my
kid.
age.
you were taller than me at the time.
Well, what about family life? What about your parents' influences? Did it affect your music taste at all, or
Oof,
did your dad listen to something that was kind of inspirational to what you listen to today?
I let you handle that part.
I mean, my dad definitely like listened to a lot of Beatles while I was growing up.
Okay,
so
that makes a lot of sense.
I knew obviously a lot of Beatles.
After hearing the music, trust me, when I hear your chord changes and I hear the song structures, it makes a lot of sense.
My dad's the same thing.
That makes a lot of sense. Oh, yeah.
For him, if it doesn't sound like the Beatles, it's garbage. It has to at least sound a little bit like the Beatles. They're like the Bible of music to him.
Wow.
The Beatles.
Yeah, I think the Beatles were a big deal for a lot of parents. So yeah, I mean, I grew up with the Beatles without even realizing that I was listening to the Beatles. It was kind of like this thing where once I became like aware of like what music is and what bands are and all that stuff, I suddenly realized like holy shit, I know all of the Beatles songs like without even like I didn't have much of a choice. It was just kind of like Beatles.
Hello.
And
My dad was like that with NSYNC.
yeah. I mean,
My dad bought the first
Those
NSYNC
are
and Backstreet Boys CDs, and he used to play them.
listen.
The Backstreet Boys.
Nightly.
More boys.
For all the people out there that are like, music snobs and they don't want to own up to it, I'll be the first person to say, I grew up with the pop hits.
Oh.
I grew up with NSYNC. I grew up with Backstreet Boys.
The only people
Genie
that
in a
grew up
bottle.
with the Spice
The
Girls.
genie's in
people
the
that
bottle.
didn't were the ones that actively tried to deny it.
Sure, yeah.
Like they were the ones that were like, "This, no, I'm not supposed to like this." But if you didn't think that way, trust me, it would find its way into your brain. Like those melodies were too good. Thank you, Max Martin.
Yeah.
We
So
love
that
you.
guy's responsible for the 90s.
Yes, he is. Thank you.
Did your mama listen to some music?
Not really, no.
She never heard of it.
Neither did
To
mine.
this day, she doesn't
She still listens to only podcasts.
podcast. She was listening to podcasts before podcasts were a thing. In the 90s. Yeah.
Old school podcasts, just conversation.
What? Was that time travel?
Yeah.
That's funny because you know what? When I think about my musical influences growing up, my mom listened to a lot of Indian music, dude. And then my dad just. Where'd all the smoke come from? Oh.
As soon as you said Indian music and
Came
the
from
drama
the-
started,
Came from the mountains.
the
My dad used
mountains.
to listen to a lot of funk. My dad loved a lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire, a lot of War.
Oh, that's
Rick,
that's
Gap
the good
Band,
stuff. That's fuel for the
Kool
fire.
In the
right
Gang, lots of Kool in the Gang. You know, he loved pop music. He used to listen to a lot of NSYNC.
there. Stevie Wonder. And,
He liked Stevie Wonder kind of, but he liked the dope stuff, man. Like my dad liked stuff that was just all about. He liked the funk music,
the funk.
shit that had the attitude. You know what I mean? Stevie Wonder was cool, but that
Some
was
James
like,
Brown,
people listen to
Parliament.
this on the way to church and the ball game. Whereas like Earth, Wind, and Fire was like, where's the roll up at? But my dad was one of those kids, and he taught
Dude,
my
your dad
dad's
sounds
music taste taught me
awesome.
about smooth music. Yeah, it was awesome. It was pretty dope because, he used to listen to it. My dad used to drink at night, roll up a joint and do his thing, and he used to listen to that kind of music, and I used to hear it outside of his door. So I used to walk to the kitchen and get myself a soda or something. And I used to hear this really just these bass lines, just this amazing. Because he was one of those dudes that just gets a little lit and just cranks it up,
Yeah.
And I used to listen to this amazing music outside of his door, and I used to wonder, like, man, like, what is that stuff? And growing up, I was like, hey, that's all the amazing funk, Parliament, Funkadelic, all the great stuff that
George Clinton.
George Clinton definitely was a big part of both those bands. Yeah, definitely a lot of Kool in the Gang, Gap Band, the ones I already named. But just
Do
a
you
lot of
feel
good
like
stuff
that's
that.
influenced you right now?
Completely. I listen to a lot of my bass lines, and no matter how much, it doesn't matter what genre I'm doing, the bass line gotta be funky.
Always in the pocket.
Oh, it has to be, man. Like, it has to have some sort of groove. Like, groove to me means so much more than just making it complicated or shreddy or whatever. Like, it's gotta have a groove. And the stuff I like today, even if it's Chon or Polyphia or any of the very heavy guitar stuff, it's still got a really nice groove on top of everything. So I appreciate funk for what it taught me in terms of bass. I play a lot of guitar, but every time I play the bass, I have almost more fun. It's weird.
Funk is like,
Funk is
man,
everything.
yeah, it is.
Funk taught everybody back in the day to just kind of chill out because it was on the tail of disco, and disco was all about these very choreographed dance moves and all this kind of stuff. And funk came along and they were like, get the square shit out of here, like. Let's get in a circle. Let's all look at each other real quick. It was a good time, yeah. So, I
Sly
like
and
it,
the
man.
Family Stone, all of that.
Alrighty, folks, thank you so much for joining us on episode 55. 55.
55.
Of Shut Up, Let's Talk, folks.
Do I hear 54? 55.
My name is Alizar. If you guys want to follow me, it's at Alizar Chan. If you guys want to follow the show, it's at Shut Up, Let's Talk, all over the webosphere. If you guys want to follow these two lovely gentlemen, they are at Loneborn. If you guys want to follow them, feel free to plug yourselves.
_born, because there's some dude in Japan who thought it would be cool to get the username Loneborn on Instagram, post one picture, and never use his account again for 4 years.
Of course.
So
He must have been going through something.
we try.
I am Loneborn!
I will say though, the concept behind the original Loneborn, the Japan Loneborn, is actually pretty interesting. It's this dude who apparently has like a storefront in Japan where he makes clothing, and he only makes one article of clothing at a time, and he only makes one of a kind. I don't know if you
That's
looked this
brilliant.
up. So it's like Loneborn, like it was born and it's alone and it's only one. I was like, this guy put more thought into the name than we did.
That's amazing.
So at the same time, all right, you can have the Instagram
Speak for
account.
yourself. I
How
put
many
thought
followers?
into
Like
it.
30?
Come
But
on.
we messaged him and he never got back to us. So for now, it's Lone underscore born.
We're underborn.
Underborn's like
Underborn's
preemies.
Underborn's gonna be the
We're
spin-off.
graduates
The
now.
spin-off band.
Oh man. Anyway, folks, if you guys want to follow your personal accounts, do you guys want to plug those at all, or if not, don't worry about it. If you guys want to plug any of your
I'm
other stuff,
not very active on my personal account, so just
cool.
follow Loneborn.
follow Loneborn. Feel free to check out their musics. Well, that's with the X. Feel free to check out their music, folks. We checked out a couple of songs today. I had a really good time doing that. Thank you so much, guys, for having yourselves
Thank you.
on the show.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure, folks.
Oh
Wayne's World,
yeah.
excellent. And we're gonna go ham out on some shish kebabs that my lovely girlfriend put together for us. And
Oh! I got a gift. Before you close the show.
Oh, this is the first on Shut Up, Let's Talk. Oh!
You have a new baby. Add a new baby. A new baby to the
I don't know what
list.
to do right now, folks. This is
Now the babies unite. Unite. Fusion.
oh
Oh yeah.
Except play that with a Fisher Price toy, because this is amazing. Wow. Two peas in a pod. Oh fuck. 2 peas in a mushroom
The
pod.
babies.
Thank you so much for that, man. I was legitimately excited for that, bro. Wow. That got me, man. Love, peace, chicken grease, folks. Look both ways before you cross the street, alright? Until next time, folks, we will catch you on Shut Up, Let's Talk. Oh, you know what? And thank you, everybody on YouTube that was watching. I forgot that we were streaming on YouTube. So I don't know who's been watching there. I have not checked. I'm sorry if the chat felt ignored.
You're still there. We'll remember
But we
you.
will catch you on the